In this video, we're going to show you to install the front park brake cable on your Toyota Camry located underneath your console. Now on the inside here, we want to go ahead and lift up this trim bezel here around the shifter. You can use a trim tool or you can use a pocket screwdriver. You just want to be careful not to damage the trim. On the front side, there's little tabs that lock into the front portion of the console. That's going to expose two Phillips head screws right here on the back side of the shifter. Let's go ahead and loosen and remove those. And once you get these screws out, we're going to go ahead and grab that e-brake lever here and we're going to pull this up. Open up your center console. Now right here, if your vehicle has it, it has a little carpet piece here. Go ahead and pop that out, set it aside. That's going to expose two bolts down here. These are 12 millimeter. Go ahead, loosen and remove these. Give that console a little wiggle. And on the front portion of the console by the shifter, I want to go ahead and separate it from the front portion to the front of the rear portion here. Now the console itself has two tabs on either side that lock down into the front portion. So you're just going to pull this up and work that back. Now we can go ahead and grab that console. Wiggle that up between the seats. Over the e-brake handle and remove it from the vehicle. Now right here we have a threaded nut here and that holds a preload of tension on the cable itself. Now what we want to do is get a general measurement on this here. This is about 1 inch. Now we're going to go ahead and press this button and release the e-brake arm. And we want to, I'm going to hold the bottom here with a 10 millimeter and then we're going to use a 10 mil on the top. Loosen that nut. Spin that off. Now we're going to be reusing hardware here, so make sure that you don't lose it. Then we have the second one here. Now this is kind of like a jam nut type here. So this is the adjustment. And then you have the upper nut I just removed is the jam nut to secure that. Now another way to get a general measurement on this here is this portion of the threaded end just comes up above the edge of the bracket or the e-brake arm. Go ahead and push this down. Now this is going to be free floating, as you can see. Pull that. I'm going to go underneath the vehicle and we're going to grab that cable and see if we can pull that through. Underneath the vehicle here, we have our center resonator and we have a heat shield up above. This heat shield is keeping us from getting to that cable up there. So on the back passenger side, we have a straight shot to this nut right here. We did spray it down with some rust penetrant. Ours is pretty rusty. We were able to fit a 9 millimeter socket on there. I want to go ahead and remove this nut. I'm going to grab that back corner of that heat shield. and pull this down a little bit. Now, if you can flex this a little bit to get on inside here, it'd be great. Otherwise, you're gonna have to try and get that front nut off there. Now, our center cable comes through here, has a rubber boot, and it comes through to the center T section right here where our driver's side and passenger side e-brake cable run through. I'm gonna reach up here and try and pop that rubber boot off. I want to pull that cable from up top, and we need to release it from the center section here. I'm going to go ahead and tap some of the rust off of this. I'm trying to dislodge the little T end of the cable. And it is rusty, it's exposed to the elements. But it is coming out. And then we have that T section out there. I'm gonna rotate this. Now if you rotate it, you can actually pull the cable out through the front section. You can see it come through. Now we have that popped out. Now what we're gonna do from the inside of the car here, we have our cable, and I'm gonna use a screwdriver. You can use a pick, anything like that. And I'm just gonna push this down through. Now, it might bind up a little bit. You can go ahead and alter the position of your e-brake lever. Now, we have someone underneath the vehicle that can go ahead and grab that cable and start to work that out. I'm going to push this through. I'm going to have the person underneath push the cable back in. And that should give us a little bit of slack here to go ahead and pry this end out. There is a Phillips head screw. I want to go ahead and loosen this. I'm going to remove this and remove that screw. I don't want to lose that. Set that aside. Now right here on the front side, there's a little tab that holds this cable in place. I'm just going to slightly tweak that out a little bit so we can work this cable end out. All right, now from underneath the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and pull that cable out. So now let's go ahead and take the new cable and we're going to feed that up. And as that comes through, I'm going to feed that cable back in underneath that little locking tab. And we need to feed it up into the sleeve here on the e-brake handle. So we're going to feed that up like so. Push that in, pop that in like so. And I'm going to go ahead and press this tab back in. We didn't move it much, but we're able to guide that back in over there. Let's go ahead and install our sensor here. Now this has a pin on it, has 2 pins. It'll pretty much guide everything right into place. Install the screw. You want to go ahead and gently snug this screw down. You just want it to be snug. You don't have to over tighten it. It's just securing a plastic sensor there. So snug that down. Now I'm going to install one of the nuts here. Now I'm just going to throw that on just to keep the cable end in place here. At this point, don't forget to put your e-brake arm or your lever all the way down. And let's move to underneath the vehicle. Now underneath, we're going to push that cable up inside the car, feed our little T into that center bracket. Now once we have that cable end through, we want to go ahead and twist it and pull it back into the notch. And we have the cable end pulled back into the notch. We push the cable up into the vehicle. We want to go ahead and get this rubber boot seated up here. So we're just going to reach up and work that up into place. Want to make sure that our cable end is in that notch there. Now with the cable end in here, you can go ahead and push this rubber collar down. Push it down inside. That will secure that cable in place while we work on the upper side. But while we're here, let's go ahead and install our heat shield. Go ahead and run that down and snug it down. And once that bottoms out, just give it a little bit more. So let's go ahead and thread this down. You want to go ahead and grab this cable, pull up on it. Now adjustment wise, what you want to do is, you want to grab that lever and that needs to activate that brake. So you're going to activate it, continue to tighten down this nut. Now normally what you would want to do is start up the vehicle, apply the brake, and you want to engage your e-brake. And you want it to engage roughly about halfway to secure the vehicle. Now with the vehicle in drive, and you pull up on the e-brake, it should engage about halfway and the car should not move. So ideally that's the measurement you want. You go ahead and release this here. You can tighten down that lower nut and then install the upper nut. Take your two 10mm wrenches and you're going to tighten the lower one and then, or hold the lower one and tighten the upper. With that secure, we can now go ahead and install our console. I'm going to pull up on our e-brake cable here. Lower your console down, feed that through. Now ideally, now is a good time to clean that console. Line up the front portion and drop that down inside. Let's install our 2 screws up front here. Just get those started. Might have to wiggle that console a little bit to get those bolts there to line up, but once you do, I'm going to go ahead and run those down. Just gently snug those. Once you have those done, go ahead and drop your little carpet piece in if you have that. Then we can lower our console lid. Tighten the front screws. Just snug those gently. Take the front piece, and it has the tabs across the front, so you want to install those first. Once those are placed in, just simply press down, snapping that down. Now we can go ahead and release the e-brake, and you're all set.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.